This is ANCAP-SU, and we're going to discuss the situation in Venezuela. It appears that the United States has followed through on its promise to send military. 3 ships, including 3 destroyers equipped with missiles and a submarine, have been deployed to the Caribbean region. The intentions behind this deployment are still unclear, but Maduro has already responded. Maduro has called upon the militias that support him in Venezuela to mobilize for his protection. Here are the personnel. There they are. Look, Maduro is shown here with his soldiers, demonstrating strength and showing that everyone is on his side. At some point, they all gather together. I found Maduro's strategy effective in that it conserves missile resources. A single well-placed drone can quickly resolve the issue. Let's examine the situation more closely, especially in light of the statement from the White House spokesperson, which underscored the gravity of the matter. Maduro will have to leave Venezuela. He's not the president, just a drug cartel leader who has taken over the country and therefore needs to get out. How this will happen, I don't know. Shall we discuss these issues? This news was suggested by Sol Chapelin Petizado, Bruno Django Livre, and several others. Thanks to those who suggested news on our website, Libertarian.com, and thanks to you for watching our video. If you like our content, please like and subscribe to our channel. This is old news. I've discussed this before. Several days ago, 5 days ago, I said Trump was sending ships to the region. 4 days ago, I mentioned 4,000 Marines, 3 ships, 1 submarine, and other assets. And there are 2 other ships that might be heading there too, remember? This is from my video 4 days ago. Trump sends 4,000 Marines on 5 ships and a submarine to the southern Caribbean. It's actually old news. I made another one before this 5 days ago. Trump ordered the U.S. Navy to move to the southern Caribbean. So this is old news. But here's the thing, I'm used to this. The traditional socialist media doesn't simply ignore this kind of thing because they're afraid. It doesn't go in the direction they want. They want to say that Brazil is going to be able to take on the United States and dominate everything. No, because of sovereignty. We're going to resolve this whole situation, and this kind of thing goes against their argument. It becomes complicated for them to maintain their argument, but now it seems they've realized it's inevitable and have started talking about it. Here it's DCM, which is a newspaper considered to be far left. The Folha de São Paulo, another far left newspaper. Here, the United States is sending warships to Venezuelan waters and will use its full force against Maduro. The United States is sending a warship to Venezuela's coast, sources tell CNN. If you read this, it's what I told the others. That I said 4 days ago, there were 3 ships, but 2 others may also be heading there, along with a submarine and 4,000 Marines. And it seems there are also troops on the ground in some country in the region, though it's not known which one. All this is old news from 4 days ago on our channel. What's new now is the statement from White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt, who said it's to assess the situation. Trump will use his full force against Maduro in Venezuela, having deployed warships to the country's coast. Maduro is not a legitimate president. He's a fugitive and the head of a narco-terrorist cartel accused of drug trafficking in the United States. Trump is preparing to use all-American force to curb drug trafficking, the spokesperson told the press at the White House. This week, the United States deployed 3 warships to the southern Caribbean region. Those who read my report know that 2 other ships also left American ports. We're unsure if they were headed to Venezuela, but it's suspected that more is being sent to Venezuela than the United States has publicly disclosed. That is, these other 2 ships departed from American military ports, but their destination was not disclosed. It's believed they're also headed to Venezuela. President Trump stated he would use military forces to pursue organized drug trafficking, whose groups Washington has designated as global terrorist organizations. You remember this, right? Marco Rubio's representatives were here in Brazil a few days ago and discussed designating the Primeiro Comando da Capital and Comando Vermelho as terrorist organizations. Right? Similar to the Cartel de los Soles, correct? The Cartel of the Suns from Venezuela, whose leader is Maduro, and now the United States is taking action, right? It mentions 3 ships. I don't know what else. The agency sent 4,000 as we discussed in the video. All old news here, right? The Venezuelan government, in a statement, called the American accusation of complicity with drug trafficking a threat that not only affects Venezuela but puts at risk the peace and stability of the region. Without referring to the warships, the Venezuelan president said he will defend our seas, skies, and lands. For half an hour, right? If he can, he'll defend for half an hour. Here's what Livet said. Let's hear what Livet said.
What I'm going to say regarding Venezuela. President Trump was very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to prevent drugs from flooding our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It's a narco-terror cartel. Maduro, in this administration's view, is not a legitimate president. He's a fugitive leader of this cartel that has been identified in the United States for trafficking drugs in our country.
So she said that President Trump has always been very consistent in his position that he will use all possible force to prevent the entry of drugs into the United States and to target the cartels that bring drugs into the United States. Maduro is not the president of Venezuela. Maduro is the head of a drug cartel. His presidency is not recognized by the United States, and that the United States will use all possible force, all possible power to resolve this problem. In other words, it's really impressive. Things are getting ugly. As we said in our previous video, probably for now, at this moment, it's still just an American show of force, putting those ships there and so on. I don't believe they will carry out an invasion, but remember that we also said in the other video that these ships have amphibious landing capability, that is. They are ships that can reach the beach, put troops on the beach, land armored vehicles and a lot of other things on the beach, right? So they have this capability, but of course, to carry out an operation of this type would be quite complex. I don't think this will happen anytime soon. For now, Trump's goal is just to show strength to Venezuela. Let's see what the next step in this situation will be. Here is the U.S. State Department confirming what the press secretary said, and that's why we're offering a $50 reward for information about Maduro and his regime. Criminal against Americans, so there's a $15 reward for anyone who helps locate and arrest Maduro. Well, Maduro said he announced the mobilization of 4.5 million militiamen in response to the U.S. threats. Look, I don't want to underestimate Venezuela's army. I'm sure there are very capable people there with great capabilities. But the truth is this: Venezuela wouldn't be able to withstand a war with the United States in any way. And Trump, in this case, is right. Maduro is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. Maduro is a drug trafficker who has taken over the presidency of Venezuela. Everyone knows that the 2018 election was totally rigged and lacked legitimacy. What will result from this? The big question is this: Maduro doesn't have as much internal support as one might think. Will the Venezuelan military actually defend Maduro? That's the question, isn't it? When things kick off, will they stick with him or bail? And the amusing thing is that Maduro has already rallied everyone, called out all the militias. Let's all stand together here. Just look at all these people dressed in green. It's quite a sight. Everyone backing Maduro and so on. It's good that he's already conserving ammunition. All it takes is a well-placed drone to resolve the whole situation. So again, I don't think there will be a military confrontation in Venezuela. If there is, I'll follow it on the Mundo y Revolución channel as I do with all confrontations. But things are getting ugly for Maduro, and there's certainly a plan in place to address the issue, right? What's happening here is also becoming a... Here, Desiree is also sharing Reuters information. The ships heading there will be in the region within the next 36 hours. Again, she's saying that something is going to happen. I don't think anything will happen, at least not initially, but I may be wrong. Maybe something is being prepared to happen. I think initially it will be a show of force because they have some other plan to destabilize the internal situation to bring down Maduro, to fuel some internal group to take down Maduro. That's possible. Or it could be that there's no alternative and they have to resolve the issue. How will they resolve it? Well, all these ships have missile launching capabilities. Destroying half of Venezuela's air bases would leave Venezuela with no defense capabilities. It's illusory to think they'll be able to sustain a war with the United States for even half an hour. Especially in a case like this, where the head of state is not supported by practically anyone in the country except his closest friends. Many people bring up the issue of Vietnam, saying the U.S. went there and couldn't take it over. And the truth is that the U.S. couldn't take over Vietnam. It ended up giving up It's not that they lost per se. The truth is that the United States won all the battles they fought in Vietnam. It's that they concluded they couldn't really conquer all of Vietnam and dropped the whole thing. Vietnam was too costly, and they dropped the whole affair. Now, the fact is that Venezuela is different. The Venezuelan people aren't really invested in or loyal to Maduro. Maduro is an imposition, much like Lula here in Brazil, so we'll see. There could be big developments in the coming days. Thanks for watching the video to the end. Besides liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel, consider becoming a sponsor with amounts starting from $1.99. Click the Be a Member button below to learn about the conditions and benefits of sponsoring the channel. For more information about our project, visit the websites listed on the screen.